First up will be approval of the agenda. Motion and support, changes or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Public comment. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Feel free to step up, public. Bradley, you're writing or talking today? Okay.
Both, maybe?
Nope. Public comment is closed. Committee items are the minutes of the October 7th meeting. Motion and support. Any changes or corrections needed? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. 911 quarterly reporting activities. Jason Hammond, Director Hammond.
Good morning.
Morning, Jason.
What you have before you is the 911 quarterly report for July through September. The first part is the call volume. As you can see, we have taken a total of 1,666 calls per this past quarter, which on average for the past 9 months is about 646 calls per day, and about 18,333 a month. Below I put some comparison 2018 and 2019 numbers together. As you can see, we're about 10,000 calls more this year than last year. Just some other notes. Yesterday, the big storm we had, we took in about 175 accidents, 260 in total from accidents and motorist assist on the highways. We took in a total of 1,132 calls yesterday, which is about 600 more than we averagely take per day. Same staff level. A lot of issues with some record companies. They wouldn't go out because there wasn't a cop on scene, so I'll have to deal with that today a little bit. Also for stock, if you guys remember, is the statewide transportation operations center. We've contacted them a total of 295 times as of September 30th. And also, since going live with the text to 911, we've taken 132 text messages in Jackson County. Excuse me. Incidents per departments. I have the 2018 and 2019 totals. As you can see, there's some increase this year. We do use a lot of departments for mutual aids through fire departments. And they've increased about close to about 8,000 as well this year. Also threw some graphs back there. For January, September calls for 2018 and 2019. The numbers I have there for 2019, not 2018, for law enforcement. And below that, it's a total incident from last year to 2017 stats to 2018 stats. Been doing a lot of training as well for all dispatchers. We sent a couple individuals to active shooting training for dispatch, as our jobs in dispatch is a little bit different than law enforcement. We're trying to get information and get the information out as quick as possible. I sent 3 dispatchers to that. Mental health dispatching, it's an ongoing thing. I think dispatchers need to be aware of what's going on and how to deal with every mental issue that comes into dispatch. So I did send 4 dispatchers to that training. Basic lean, law enforcement information network. I sent 3 people to that. LASSO training was something I went to. LASSO training is a security officer for lean within our department. It's how the network connects to the state network. Also lean TAC. So any issues that come into dispatch, I have to deal with, either address with the Attorney General at the state level, because everything can be criminally processed on dispatches or law enforcement officers if they do something they're not supposed to. So we have to make sure everybody's doing their job, especially in dispatch. Survive and Thrive. That is something I've sent dispatchers to the last 3 years. It's a class for stress, what they deal with inside dispatch on calls, and it gives them the components to try to deal with some of the stress. We can participate in a couple of different exercises. The state building, they had a suspicious package. They made a few phone calls into dispatch, and we dispatched a few units to the scene. It was a training, and then the active shooter exercise that OEM Jason Brenning had last month, which was very, very good. I think a lot of us learned from law enforcement, fire departments, dispatch. We all learned something that we could do a lot better. Peninsula Fiber Network, we still have 2 conversions still outstanding. Frontier is one of them, and AT&T is another one. We are like number 28 on the list for the state, so I wouldn't anticipate that getting done anytime this year. Probably sometime next year. With our CAD build, we continue to do different tasks. Hoping still to go live in February. We have another meeting with Tyler in December. The build team is working on it constantly to get things moved over to it. And then a special note for one of my shifts. If you guys didn't hear about it, Jackson County, I'll just read it. Jackson County Dispatch was relaying a BOL, which is be on the lookout. From the Kalamazoo regarding an armed robbery that had occurred at a jewelry store there. The attentive staff at dispatch was able to connect the description of the robbery suspect's vehicle that had occurred in Kalamazoo to one that had occurred the night before here in Jackson. There were 2 suspects on the lookout vehicle, a police helicopter, and several law enforcement agencies involved. As the suspects fled Kalamazoo eastbound into Washtenaw and Wayne counties, dispatch was able to communicate over the 800 megahertz radios to several law enforcement agencies, which was necessary for this incident, and assisted in catching the suspects. The incident went through 4 counties, ended with 6 criminals taken off the street, 1 stolen vehicle recovered, and some of the thousands of dollars of jewelry that was stolen in these 2 events was recovered as well. Also, on another note, the feds have taken over this case as they've linked this one to 3 other states, the same suspects. That was a good job of that night shift. Below that, I have animal calls. I put the 2017 stats and 2018 stats together. As you can see, the 2018 and 2019 stats. 2019, we've taken a lot more animal calls than last year. Lydia's been very helpful on stuff like that. So, and the other one is different call types with some high volume numbers to it. Rescues have gone up this year. The orange is the 2018 stats. I'm sorry, the 2019 stats.
Thank you, Jason. Just one comment from me. You've got the paragraph in there about the new radio system. I was actually listening to that call that night, and I've got to say that with the old system, I don't know if it would have had the same outcome, but just all the agencies that were able to stay on the same talk group from Kalamazoo County through Jackson County into Washtenaw and almost into Wayne County, and then to when the second vehicle crashed and they fled on foot and they chased them for 2 more hours before they caught all of them. That would never have happened with the old system. I talked with Director Jester, whose officers were primarily responsible for the chase through Jackson County, and I think he sent a letter to Mike and the chair both thanking the board for the new radio system because it wouldn't have probably had the same outcome under the old system. Commissioners, any questions of Jason on his report? Bill?
Not a question, just a comment. I'm not hearing people complaining about bad experiences calling dispatch anymore. I think your training is, you went the right route, it looks like, and the training is working well, and from me at least, pass it on to your people, that we're hearing good things.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Tony?
Yes, it was. I totally agree. Thank you.
Okay. No other questions? Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the airport private-owned hangar 109 sale and lease. Juan, good morning.
Morning. Morning, everybody. First off, the airport's open. We were open yesterday at 7 a.m. We had 11 operations coming in from Tennessee, back and forth to Tennessee and to Ohio. And this morning, we already have 2 airplanes on their way in from Atlanta and from Dayton, Ohio. So things are looking well at the airport. And we're being able to keep it open. Josh Clayman did a tremendous job yesterday in keeping the airport open for us, so that was great. Hangar 109 is a private-owned hangar that it's proposed to be sold to 2 individuals, and the county has first right of refusal. And if we choose not to purchase the hangar, then we will issue a 20-year ground lease for the hangar. At this time, we don't see a need for that particular hangar, so I recommend that we waive the first right of refusal and to approve the sale of the hangar. Any questions? Yes.
Tony?
Yes, yes. It's a very good bargain. The FAA allows airports to provide great deals for aviation or for property that's going to be used for aviation purposes. Likewise, if we were to use the similar property for a non-aviation purpose, we will have to charge fair market value on that. And so what it comes down to is it's a competitive bid. We have Hillsdale, Adrian, Lansing, Mason, and we're competing with all those airports to have airplanes based at our airport. And that's why the rate is really very affordable. I recommend, if you guys want to get into aviation, great place to build a hangar.
Okay, any other questions, Commissioners? Phil? Okay. Okay, motion is to send it to the full board for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. 1, the Airport MDOT sponsor contract 1042 for the construction of the terminal apron.
And the next 4 or 5 contracts are all dealing with the same project. It's the terminal apron at the airport. That's a $3.1 million project. That's 90% funded by the FAA and 5% by the state, 5% by the county. And this contract is for the funds that actually finally got approved in September by Congress. So they got passed down to the local FAA office, and they passed it on down to us. So we're requesting that the commission approve the funding of this project. We've already, December of 2018, the commission approved the design portion of the project, and this is the actual construction part of the project. It will require a transfer of $159,720 to the airport fund for this project.
Juan, my only question is the 5% that we pay, we've got that money segregated and capable of paying that without having to make any adjustments, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Commissioners, any other questions on this? Item D. Phil?
Let's make a motion, we approve the contract.
Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye to send this to the full board.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item E, Airport MDOT Terminal Apron Reconstruction Contract Amendment. One.
Okay, and this was during the design phase of the project, the consultant designed the apron to meet the current standards that we had at the airport. The FAA wanted to have the design standards that are applied by the FAA, so that required us to cancel the bid, redesign the apron, and rebid the project. All this extra work cost an extra $7,587 that the consultant and the state are splitting 50-50. And actually, the total cost was $17,088, but the county and the state are splitting that 50-50. So this is a request to amend the design contract that was approved in March of 2019, and to add the funds of $7,587, which can be covered by existing funds of the airport.
So one, to be clear, this was because the FAA changed the way they wanted something from the original specifications, essentially?
It was a miscommunication. The FAA approved a reconstruction of the apron. The consultant and the state of Michigan understood that it was going to be a rehabilitation. So the difference is, on a rehab, you take some of the old concrete out and you repave it. On a reconstruction, you take it down to the ground, kind of like we did with runway 725, which was a brand-new runway. So that would be a construction. So it was a little bit more expensive. The consultant was hoping to save some money on the project, and it cost a little bit extra money is what happened. So, and the design, by the way, is so that the apron is designed to accommodate the larger aircraft, 737s, 757s, and the slope of the apron has to be at 1% or less, so that when you're pushing back those aircraft, the aircraft doesn't get out of control with the towing of the aircraft. So it had to be a real shallow slope than what we had.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Tony?
Thank you. And then on the actual resolution, it says the FAA rejected the initial design for the terminal. But to me, those two wordings are completely different, whether the FAA rejected their design or if they encountered unanticipated design challenges. Unanticipated challenges, I guess I'm used to getting paid additional design fee for it. But if the client rejects my design, I'm not used to getting additional fee for correcting it. So could you explain the difference in terminology and?
Yes, sir. On a standard project, when the consultant is not able to meet all the requirements of the FAA, they put in for a modification to standards. In this instance, the consultant, Mead and Hunt, put in the modification to standards to allow the apron to be at 1.3% slope. The FAA's initial indications was that there's not going to be a problem with that, and they were going to approve it. At the 90% design meeting, the FAA did not give any indication that there was going to be a problem. So we moved on with the bidding of the project, and then after that is when the FAA came back saying, we are not going to be able to approve the modification to standards, so you have to go back and redesign the project. And so the reason there's a difference in the wording is that the FAA actually rejected the modification to standards, and they said you need to redesign the project. And because of that, the FAA did not participate in any of the extra cost of redesigning the project. It's a cost that is being borne by the state and the county, if we want this project to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Phil? Okay, any other questions on this one? And if not, we'd need a motion to send it to the full board. Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. 1, item F.
Okay, this is the contract amendment with our consultant for the extra cost of designing the apron. And as mentioned before, it's an extra share of the county of $7,587. The total cost, or the total extra cost, is $17,088. And the state of Michigan is paying half of that, and if we choose to, we can pay the other half. So this is a modification to the contract to approve that.
Okay, commissioners, any questions? If not, we'd be looking for a motion. Motion and support, send it to the full board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. 1, item G.
This is the contract between the county and Mead Brothers Excavating. That was the low bidder on the project. And we need the contract approved so they can start preparing for the May 2020 start date on the project. This is no extra cost to the county. It's all being covered under our local share of $159,000.
1, it's about $300 less, $300,000 less than the other, the next lowest bid, I think, right?
Correct.
Is that unusual or not?
This project was actually bid twice, and both bids came with about a similar difference between Mead Brothers and the next bidder, so they really wanted the job.
And Mead has done a lot of work for us there before, correct? So we're happy with their work.
We're happy they
Okay.
have a good reputation.
Commissioners, any questions? Phil?
Juan, how many square feet is this? That's a lot of money.
It is, and I don't have the exact, actually, I do. It's a big apron. This apron was initially built in 1962, and there was some modifications, and we're looking at 19,125 square yards.
Square yards?
Square yards.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And keep in mind, this apron is much thicker than the highway pavement. It starts out at 12 inches, and then it kind of narrows down as we get it closer to the building itself.
Do we anticipate ever being able to land a 757 here where we need to support it?
You know, we can, the runway is long enough to accommodate that aircraft.
Okay.
The likelihood that we'll get something like that, unless President Trump decides to come back he owns a 757, we could accommodate that aircraft, but as far as airline traffic, probably not.
Okay. I just couldn't see the landing strip long enough to ever accommodate that, but I guess maybe it would be.
It's long enough to accommodate some of the larger aircraft. Unfortunately, as you put more and more weight in the aircraft with passengers and cargo, then we're not able to accommodate a fully loaded 757.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there's no additional questions on the motions in order. Motion and support to send it to the full board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. 1, item H.
Okay, this is the contract amendment number 1 for Mead and Hunt. And back in December 2018, we approved the design phase of the contract. This is the construction part of the contract. All of the fees involved in this contract with Mead Brothers are covered in the project, and our local share remains the same, $159,720.
And that's the 5%, correct? 1.
That is the 5% of the project, correct?
Okay, commissioners, questions? Tony?
Yes.
And that should be, I would think that would be Amendment 1. Therefore, if adding the additional design fee to the contract was Amendment 1, then now adding the construction phase services, why is this not Amendment 2? What am I
Mead
missing?
Brothers went ahead and they provide us the amendment number 1 for the construction phase prior to giving us the next amendment which was for the redesign of the apron. So technically, and I question the same thing, Mead Brothers should have probably reversed the numbers, but the way they did the contracts, the contract amendments, the contract amendment number 1 is for the construction part of the project, and the contract amendment number 2 is for the redesign.
Okay,
But there is really no amendment number 2, right? It's just amendment and then amendment 1,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, they called it
Yeah, it should
Amendment
be-
A1 for the redesign.
well, I think I don't know how are you incorporating both of these changes simultaneously?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's the intent.
That's so, why do we need 2 resolutions? If we've got 2 separate resolutions,
Well,
I think they need different numbers.
The initial resolution for the amendment to the signed contract is to add an additional $17,000 to the contract. The resolution for this amendment number 1, which is for the construction of the apron, is an amendment for $288,135, which is what the consultant will be making on this project, on the construction phase of the project.
Juan, would it make more sense to ask them to rename them Amendment 1 and Amendment 2? Would that be that difficult or not?
I can do that if we,
Well,
but just in tracking project costs, you need
right.
each amendment tracked and numbered individually.
We can go back and do that if that's what the,
I think it would keep it
Committee
cleaner, but
decides.
that's between you and Mike, and it would make it easier to understand, I think, but
it was confusing, the fact that they did it like that, and I just didn't think it was something that, it was understandable from our financial point of view, but it didn't make sense, having
Well-
amendment number 1 like that.
assuming that we forward it on, that's the last one, I think, then you have a week to, or 6 days actually to figure out, a week to figure out if you want to change it. Makes
Mr.
sense to me.
Chair? Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I understand where Commissioner Bear is coming from, but I guess my only question is it necessary to go backwards, just to go forward again, if we already understand what we're doing?
No, again, Darius, my suggestion is that we approve sending it to the full board, let Juan and Mike work on it for the next week, and when it comes to the full board meeting, if they want to change the numbers on it, that would be fine. Might make sense.
I see.
Doesn't need to stop anything necessarily.
Okay, that's what I was afraid of. I
Right,
didn't want it to
right.
stop any progress.
Yeah, it'd be cleaning it up really if they choose to. No.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you.
Right. Well, 2 numbers really, but, right. Right. Okay, looking for a motion to send it on to the full board? Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Juan, thank you.
Thank you.
Item I, JC.2020 pothole patching, public-private partnerships. That's a lot of Ps in a pod.
Good morning, Commissioners. That is actually a term we use, P3. Have you heard that? Oh, it might be P4 in this case. P5 for us. Well, our P5 program, new nickname we're going to use, I suppose, has been very successful. So you can see attached to the item is our bid tabulations for it, and we have recommended vendors. I think we have 18 crews this coming year that we're proposing to work with, and we're seeking your approval.
Chris, I wrote a couple of notes to myself last night. First of all, I noticed there's a difference between crews. You've got some crews that are at $95 per hour, I think, and some at $100. What makes the difference?
Just their bid. You see some at 200 plus as well. It must be
I see.
just the cost calculations of the company as they submitted their sealed bids.
Okay. And then the second question is, with, I think, 15 total contractors, I assume the county's divided up, and how do you avoid duplicate crews in the same area? Certainly, you don't just gather every morning and say, okay, go fix potholes. How do you do that?
Actually, our team is very organized with this. We use our 50-ton semis. We load up hot mix, and we basically deploy out of designated areas, working in I think this year we worked in a clockwise fashion around the county. And so we have a foreman that documents how many tons go to each contractor as they literally line up and get loaded in the morning. Minimizes their windshield time because they're paying them all by the hour with their truck and so forth, and keeps our mix hot, high quality. So it's all well documented, well organized, if that makes sense.
And then you've mandated that each of these crews has a hot box this year, which we didn't mandate before.
Correct.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Phil?
Chris, I had several townships last year voice concern of safety gear not being used. I don't know, we talked about that last year. Is there any way you can amend, put a stipulation on their contract that eventually, if they get hurt, it's on them, but it all flows downhill. And I don't want it to come to the road commission or the county, a lawsuit, because somebody didn't use their gear or have lights on. I've heard it more than once out there.
Right.
I know I've contacted you and we addressed it last year, but it seems to be a continuing problem.
We actually take safety very seriously. We do a pre-inspection meeting with them all. They have to bring their equipment. We look it over. Do they have proper lighting, PPE, everything. There have been some issues and problems. Whenever we get reports, we do investigate and look into it, and we basically have the right to fire the crew if it's not working out. But we definitely elevate it, talk to the owner of the company if necessary. Our team is aware of the situation. I think towards the end of the year, we saw less and less of it. But there's always some monitoring, feedback, and communication that has to happen. But
You have the same problem I do, out of sight.
correct,
You know, you can't have a supervisor following every truck.
right.
I don't know. I mean, they're taking on their own hazards, and they'll deal with the outcome of an accident, but then again, we'll probably end up getting dragged into something like that. Somehow, some attorney, you know.
Right.
All right, well, I'm good. I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract if it's in order.
We will talk internally, though. I appreciate your concerns. I share the same. We'll talk internally about what we can do to go a step further this coming year.
Thank you.
Okay, it's just send it to the full board. There's a motion that I just hear support. Okay? Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item J, J.Slag, 1S.
This is fairly straightforward. It's the material that we use for our chip seal program, so we're seeking approval for, I think it's $75,000.
Chris, is this the one where what you wanted wasn't available or not? The type material that you wanted was best suited wasn't available, so you had to go to second choice, I think, right?
Yes, that's correct.
It is, yeah. I wasn't aware of that, but yes.
Right.
Right, correct, yeah.
But this will still do the job we want it to do and last just as well, we think?
Right.
Okay. Okay, any questions, Commissioners? If not, a motion's in order. And this is committee action. There's a motion and support. Gets approved here. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Okay, very good.
Pavement warranty program.
You bet.
Good morning.
Good morning. So the pavement warranty program, that is something from when the 2015 legislature adopted the new road funding program. In that, it tied projects with over $2 million of pavement work to have warranty. So this was vetted out and worked on with CRAE and the 83 counties. This is the only adopted program. It was worked on with all the counties, so all the counties are being asked to pass a resolution supporting this program and that we'll be using it. So we're bringing it to you guys to pass a resolution of support for the program. If there's any questions?
Any questions? And if not, looks like it.
If I may.
Motion and support. Chairman Shotwell.
So when you talk about a pavement warranty program, does it even cover the stuff that we did not complete or that was not completed and is not buttoned up yet?
No, so it's anything that's going to bid from October, I believe, of 19. So we haven't bid anything. Everything that was bid before that would be under the old, there's no pavement warranty on that. So the things that we're putting out this winter, if it has over $2 million of road work or surfacing items on it, then it would have the pavement warranty spec in it.
Okay, and we'll follow, I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this without upsetting everybody. We're not gonna have $1.9 million projects, are we?
No, I mean, we'll package the projects accordingly without taking that into, it'll be considered if we get over the 2, actually, we're looking at 1.5, so, because it's your end project is 2 million. So 1.5 internally is what we're looking at. If we're at that, then we will look at using those specs. And it's
Okay.
based on the project as we would have scoped it before. We're not changing the way we scope projects internally to avoid the warranty. I think that's.
I'm not
what
worried about
we're-
voiding warranty, I'm worried about us with the appearance of we're doing a workaround. That's what I want to avoid.
Correct.
Clarification on that, you can actually deploy or use the pavement warranties on any project you want. The law just stipulates that 2 million threshold. There's a proposal to raise it to 5 million. The other factor that we should all be aware of is that this is somewhat controversial, because when you mandate that a contractor take on a warranty, you're going to pay for it with the paving project. So the way we have been addressing all projects countywide is through careful inspection. You know, we've talked about beefing up our engineering team, and that's our insurance here. So we could actually waive the warranty requirement if we feel comfortable absorbing the risk, because during construction, we're inspecting and making sure that all quality standards are being met.
Only on locally let projects.
But I think we can also write a waiver on the federal aid. Is that right, Bruce?
Yes.
So.
Okay, so the reason why I ask is because I don't want to be 5 years down the road on the projects that we've done recently, and because they're on the other side of the warranty program. They were done in 2018. I think of a couple of roads that are in Summit Township that, Chris, you and I have talked about at different times, that people are going to see things appear, and we understand the natural aging of a road. But a person who just is still paying for it on their tax bill doesn't appreciate crack lines appearing going all the way across the road, you know, with the road or that type of stuff. That's all. I just want to make sure we understand where we are, and commissioners understand also that where we're at with this warranty program.
So we need to be clear that the warranty isn't going to change our projects in the future either, really. So if we don't do a base repair, if we're just doing a mill and resurface, the cracks that we see now are going to continue on those projects. This warranty won't change that. So it's specific to what type of fix you're doing.
Correct, and again, like I said, I understand that, and being in remedial paving class for the last 17 years, I've learned all the different processes and being involved in that type of stuff, and why McDivitt's in the condition it's in, and why we're where we are with some of our roads and that type of stuff. But the general public doesn't understand or appreciate what we're trying to accomplish here long term, and I just hope we can be available and open to explaining what's going on. That's all. Thank you.
Tony?
And you're right up here. The only cost that might appear later would be in the form of higher bid prices to cover the cost of the bonding and required warranty. That's, yes, of course. You expecting the prices are going to go up 50%, 20%? How much you expect our bids will go up?
Good question. No one knows, but we can expect that contractors might purchase bonds or insurance for these things and build that into their bids.
Again, it would depend on the project. So mill and resurfaces, because you're not touching the base, they probably won't go up much because the cracks that reflect through won't be covered by the warranty. If it's a total reconstruct, where you're redoing the whole road, then the warranty probably will cost us. Because if there's any cracks or any defects, then the warranty, they'd have to perform work on that warranty, so.
Okay, so in total reconstructs, the warranty will be required, and right now, we don't have any way of anticipating what that cost increase would be?
No, we don't.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay,
None of
thanks.
it hasn't been determined at any of the meetings either.
Bill?
This concerns me, Chris. I'm required to purchase bonds on some of my contracts with cities and such. And I look at it and scratch my head because some of them are so unnecessary and all they do is drive the price up. I'm concerned that if the bonding company, which is an insurance company, you're doing a full total reconstruct, that they're going to have you doing unnecessary additions to what your normal procedure is because they don't want to lose any money. And we're going to pay the price not only through higher bids, but unnecessary procedures that's being performed because they demand it and they don't want to lose the money, so we're going to be paying extra money up front on things that really you wouldn't probably normally do. And I don't even know if they'd be effective. But they're there as an extra protection for the bonding company. And I can see down the road that prices could go way over what we expect. What's your feeling on this?
Well, we have had internal discussions on that, and we're going to continue to strategize on what we're going to do with warranties. In other words, another way to describe this program would be to say that not all counties do what we do with inspection and monitoring during construction. So I think the program is designed to put the onus on the contractor to pay more attention to the quality standards of projects, especially large projects. So if we feel that our inspection is thorough and so forth, and I believe we do, we have confidence in that, we may not need the warranties, and so we may be able to move forward if we can. But this is legally mandated. We have no choice in the matter. It needed to be done at the fall of this year in order to move forward and be compliant with Act 51 and receive future Act 51 dollars. So if we don't adopt it, the consequence is that we could be in jeopardy of losing funding. Do you want to add anything, Angie, to that?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is more specifically, the inspection isn't so much what we could possibly waive the warranty is material testing. If we have people certified to do density and to do aggregate testing. So on some of our projects, we could have our people who we've found take a lot more care and pride in their work on our projects. So we're looking at the possibility of justifying not having warranty on projects that we're doing the testing on, because then we know from start to finish the entire project. Does that make sense? Right now, we have a third party do it. It's just, they have their person come out, and they do a great job, but their level of care is just a job to them. They're all over the state testing, and then they go to the next job. So our eye and ears and testing will make us feel a lot more comfortable that the product we're putting down is a great product.
Well, my concern is if I'm going to pay for this road, you buy my insurance, I'm going to pay for this road if it fails. One condition. I don't want 1 foot of base. I want 2 foot of base. Then you'll get your insurance. And it might have been cheaper to put 2 foot of base down than pay me to, well, it's just a betting game. And to protect my bet, are going to demand twice the safeguards that you would normally take.
They can't,
Just a concern.
right? I mean, base is included, but we do the design, we stamp it as a PE, and then they just bid. They have to bid. So they can't dictate what our cross-section looks like.
see.
The warranty is basically pavement specific, so you're getting into some of the nuances of this and some of our concerns with the law. It's pavement specific, but as we know, the quality of a road at the end depends on a lot of things, the base and weather and all kinds of things. So,
So the one thing our agency has is we do a pavement design. A lot of counties don't do a pavement design, they just do a cross-section and they go. But we do a pavement design, so we know our structural number for the pavement meets standard. So when the contractors bid on our work, they know that, so their warranty shouldn't be as high as in a county that just throws, 6 inches of gravel and 2 inches of HMA and then goes. They don't do a structural design. So I think everything that our agency is doing in projects already will help in this matter.
Mike, did you want to add to the conversation?
Yeah, please, just a quick comment or two. There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of variables. It will cost more money. The people who are going to benefit probably the most ultimately from this will be the attorneys, because there will be lots of litigation. And then that'll force county road departments and road commissions across the land to beef up their own testing, preparing for potential defense or proving that people did or didn't do what they said they were going to do, that sort of thing. You know how that goes? I think we would have much been better served if the legislature would have passed a law that required some of these communities that are not doing what we do, and that is do a thorough job of testing and paying attention, because that's what it is. We're putting in a law that requires more or less insurance for those folks who are not really doing a thorough job of monitoring what's going down on a road. We're going to be penalized for this in the sense that our costs are going to go up, although we do inspect and look at things very closely. We have a lot of good people out there looking at it, so we don't necessarily need it, but the law is the law.
Yeah, I wanted to add that, so currently, we treat our local roads just like we do the federal aid. We do the inspection, we do the material testing for them. There's agencies out there that do not, once they go to a local road, they don't do any testing. So their material is what they get. It doesn't pass the specs, most likely. And then the other part of it is, so you know how we purchased federal aid? The counties that are selling it to us, they have to use it on the roads they planned on using it on, but they don't have to do any of the testing or anything. So this warranty is just kind of making the other agencies do what we already do.
it's somewhat irrelevant to us, to be honest.
Tony?
States that part of that legislation required each county to adopt a local pavement warranty program that is approved by MDOT. So this warranty program that you're proposing, has this been reviewed and approved by MDOT?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's been a 2-year process of working with them.
Okay, we'd be looking for a motion to send it on to the full board. Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item L, Ann Arbor Road non-motorized path maintenance agreement.
All right, so item L and item N are some cleanup activities for paths that we've built already. Item L is the path that we built with Leone Township, or Leone DDA, sorry. And it's basically just an agreement. It's already a verbal agreement we have that they already snowplowed it last year and they're maintaining it, but this is a written document that will be signed by our board and their board, passing on the maintenance of it to the DDA. It was set up originally, so we have with MDOT, there's an agreement with MDOT saying that our agency is responsible, so this is passing it on to the DDA.
Okay, if there's no questions, we need a motion to send it to the full board. Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Monthly report.
Mr. Chairman, could we skip to
Certainly.
N and then
Item
come back
N.
to M?
Item N is a duplicate as L, except it's the Rive Junction Road, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions on this one? Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carries. And thank you for doing both of those. I was on you about the Rive Junction Road, but
Thank you.
takes us back to M.
Get the monthly open.
Oh, okay. Stand.
Yeah, stay here. I was
Yep,
just-
yep. Okay, cool. We've, of course, shared our monthly report with you, and I just want to highlight a couple things. First would be the bridge at, well, the non-bridge, as we call it, because it's less than 20 feet. So from federal funding standpoint, it doesn't qualify as a bridge, but the Pope Church project, that's planned to begin next week, is it, Angie, or the next couple of weeks?
Next, sorry, the 18th, the structure will be delivered to our garage, and our guys will be putting it together in the warmth of the garage in Parma, and then we hope to install it. We think it will take about 2 days to put the actual structure out. So if everything goes as planned, we're hoping to have it in before the holiday, Thanksgiving.
The demolition's already occurred. The old bridge is out. We've cleared some of the fallen trees that are nearby. So the prep work has begun. The abutments, thankfully, were in good shape, as you might recall, when you approved the purchase of the bridge. So we're excited to get that back open at a fairly low cost. I think it's less than $100,000 for the bridge. So hopefully here in early December, we think the road will be back open,
Fingers crossed.
if things go well. Did you want to highlight anything else, Angie?
I guess I would like to, in case anyone's been out to see Moon Lake Road Bridge, the weather has shut it down for the painting, I believe, for the season. Currently, though, we do have, do we have I don't think we have a picture in there, but I can send out a picture of the current situation. So they have painted rocks. It looks good. We're going to work with them on some of the workmanship, the grout lines and such, when they come back out to finish it, to improve that. But the paint, I want to bring your attention to it, so when you're out there, it looks glossy. It's the type of, it's not a paint, it's a stain. It's an in-between, though, so it looks glossy right now. But as the weather hits it, that sheen will go away, and it will look more of a natural stone. We can put in our next week monthly. I actually got a picture from a contractor yesterday. Jason Sebastian was in the office for the Pope Church Bridge, and he built a bridge up near Picture Rock, and it's the same producer built the structure, and it was painted, and I have a picture of a 6-year-old structure where it's weathered, and it looks natural. Side by side to ours, the only thing different is really missing that weathered Mother Nature look. So I really do think it's going to look good. It's been a painful process, but once that gets painted, that bridge will look beautiful.
So unlike a car, we won't wax and wash the stone. We'll let it fade over time. And with your blessing, I'd like to highlight something that our engineering team has been working on with it's the Northwest Signal, right? If we can get technology on our side here, we'd like to show you some of the advanced modeling that Corey Clevenger, senior engineer with our team, has done. It's pretty cool what we're able to accomplish now. Congratulations to Corey. She recently received her professional traffic operations engineer certification, which is an additional level of specialization over and above the general PE. It's a rigorous examination process, so we're real happy to have a PTOE on staff now who can analyze signals and intersections and safety issues at intersections.
We're having technical difficulties. There's no HDMI here, so we're going to try the stick. Okay, I'll get out of the way.
Is this the mouse? Okay. So we received numerous concerns about the operation of Northwest School's driveway off of Lansing Ave, and this has been quite the long process. We hired a company called MyoVision to go out and do traffic counts. We then took this data and input it into a program called Synchro, which is the industry gold standard for analyzing situations like these. So Synchro uses need like a glass of water. So Synchro uses the highway capacity manual in order to analyze these intersections. And the highway capacity manual analyzes intersections by assigning a level of service to it. And that's a grade, A through F. So an A intersection would have a delay less than 10 seconds, while an F intersection has a delay greater than 80. So currently, this intersection operates at an overall level of service B, which isn't bad. But the westbound movements coming out of the Northwest Schools driveways fail with a delay of over 100 seconds. So by installing a traffic signal at this location that will be actuated, which means it won't stop traffic along Lansing Ave unless there's cars coming out of the Northwest School driveway. It will still operate at an overall level of service B, but all movements will operate at a B or better.
Schedule.
Can I ask one question? Well, and maybe I missed it, you may have said it. Will that signal be operational that way all the time or just during the key times?
It will be operational all the time. So if they have an event, the signal will kick
That's
in.
it? Okay.
And yes.
There'll
Yep.
be cameras out there, and the camera will be on the, what direction?
It'll be looking on this westbound intersection.
Yeah.
So you see these little, I can't zoom in the screen.
Yeah,
Yes.
so the left turn traffic out of the school is what will actually trigger the actuation, because the right turn you can get out. So it'll be 2 lanes, right turn, left turn, and then that signal will trigger for the left to get out of there. So whenever there's an event, morning, noon, or night, it will sense them and they'll be able to get out.
And if I can ask one more question then, it's kind of at the very bottom of the screen, but the problem is also at the southern drive. And is there a plan to internally work traffic to flow it out through the northern leg, or what's the plan?
Yes, so these drives are actually interconnected here. And once the signal goes in here, most likely we'll see traffic flowing in this early elementary drive and then headed out to the signal so that they'll actually be able to exit the driveway. The issue that they're having right now is they just don't have gaps to come out of that driveway. And during our observation period, we observed some pretty unsafe driver behavior due to the delays.
And the school's on board with those necessary changes on the property?
Yeah, and they're actually, they're implementing a little bit different drop-off. They're working on getting some LED stop paddles and stuff to bring the 2 lanes into the school there so that we don't have the backup in the morning on Lansing for entering traffic. So we're working, we've had a number of meetings, and we'll continue, once this is in, we'll continue to look at the situation and make recommendations with them. So it's not an end-all be-all, we're working with them. Did we mention that this will talk to the Lansing Parnell signal?
Oh, it will, okay.
Yes.
Rodney, did you have a question?
Oh,
Yes, I
GPS.
did, and just from a cost standpoint, with this latest technology and the maintenance on it for a period of time, what is the cost between that and a roundabout?
Oh, a roundabout would be, what we estimate on the last one, like 400,000? And this signal's about 75.
But what's the life expectancy on the signal and the maintenance that's done on it on a annual or semi-annual basis?
A lot of the signals we have are probably from the 90s or earlier.
Yeah, the maintenance on a traffic signal, well, Bruce, you looked into it, it's a couple $100 a year maybe, at the most, per signal. So
On
they're,
average. I mean, it hits you all at once, it's not.
yeah. But we love roundabouts, so we will bring some roundabouts to you guys for approval, don't worry. Yeah. That kind of excites us, Rodney. That's exciting that you like them.
So they're supposed to begin construction this week on installing the signal. I did see Ms. Dig out there this morning, but all the snow that we have might slow it down a little bit.
At the latest, implementation would be Christmas break, so that we will work with the schools to get information out to the parents and everything, so when they come back from break, they know that it's there. But the school's on board with, if it can be turned on before, then we'll get it turned on and do a expedited communication with the parents. But we're working with them. Communication is key with this type of situation. They've done a great job communicating with their parents. I think they get questioned a lot on it, but through this process, we've learned this has been an ongoing, just kind of like O'Neill, a very long, before we were here type issue, so.
Been a mess for a long time.
We're excited to put something in place and work with them.
Very good.
And thank you for approving it.
I just have one more thing.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Very nice. So, hopefully you saw the tiny little cars in there. We can actually zoom in, right, Corey? And do a different video that would show
A
it.
model maybe, but
Okay.
it's the video that the model outputs isn't great.
Right, it's a very sophisticated software, and so it kicks out this video, but on the screen, on a larger screen, especially our large monitors in the office and our conference rooms, you can really see the cars moving and what your problems are. What was neat is the before and after, what's happening today, the modeling of that, and what happens after. And what Corey can do is tweak signal timing, she can change up things. You can even model a roundabout, couldn't you, if you wanted to, as an alternative in intersection analysis. We are somewhere else. So you have one of the few counties in the entire state that has this level of knowledge and sophistication. We're not just slapping a signal up is our point. We want to show you that there's some deep thinking and rocket science behind it. Putting science into road building, as Mike says. So, and intersection safety. What's that? And plastic. Yeah. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Phil? Okay, Carl.
Norval Road, just 1 minute. Norval Road.
Norval
Are we
Road.
totally done?
I'm
No.
going to have Angie answer that.
Norval Road has basin leveling and will not be topped until spring.
Is it usable now?
It's usable, it's open to traffic, but we're hoping that the really heavy loads don't go on it this winter.
Oh, okay. I understand. All right. I go to Norval tomorrow night, so they will be asking. That's why I know. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, we can touch base with you more on that. It is open to traffic, and internally, we need to look at maybe doing frost laws on it this winter, just to protect it until it gets that top on, because it is a main haul road to go to Detroit, I've been told, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll spread the word.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rodney?
Yes, speaking of Norval Road, the transition from Grass Lake Road crossing Norval Road, I don't know if the burlap ramps and whatnot have maybe slid out of the way, but it is in need of some attention.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll look at that.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Takes us down to other business, being claims. Need to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the claims.
Motion and support. Please sign them if you haven't already. They're making their way around. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Also note there was a second group of papers there with it, thick packet. That's road department. They're going to start giving us every month also, I think. Correct, Mike?
That's correct.
Which we haven't previously seen, but we will now. Other minutes, there are none. The December reporting schedule shows road department. Wow. Takes us to public comment. Hello, public. Nobody's moving. Okay. Committee member comments. I've got one about the road department. Last week, Mike brought to our attention legislation on the road department and the insurance element of it. It was pretty upsetting, and we talked about it in study session. I had a conversation with our representative, Alexander, on Friday Our two representatives up there are on it. I haven't talked with our senator yet, don't know that Mike has, or he would be too, I'm sure, but Julie has been making the committee members and the chair of that particular committee aware of the issues with it. I think their eyes have been opened, and I'm fairly confident that that will be taken care of, so.
Actually, I heard that they removed that language.
Awesome.
So as long as nobody tries to sneak it back in, we should be good.
Yeah, and I'm glad it was caught. Taken care of.
Did a fairly nice meeting. Appreciate it.
We're adjourned.